Turmoil in Israel. Fiery protests erupting in the streets tonight.
In unprecedented events, the country's biggest trade union called a strike.
The country's political turmoil rapidly deepening.
Hundreds of thousands of people have taken to the streets over plans to overhaul the judicial system. Around 100,000 protesters turned out in central Tel Aviv, demonstrating against plans by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's new government to change the judicial system that protesters say will threaten democratic checks and balances on ministers by the courts. Why are Israelis protesting? The protesters say the future of Israeli democracy is at stake if the government succeeds in pushing through the plans, which would tighten political control over judicial appointments and limit the Supreme Court's powers to overturn government decisions or declare Knesset laws unconstitutional, and for the government to overrule the court's decisions. On Monday, Netanyahu agreed to delay the judicial overhaul proposal until the next parliamentary session. That will be after the upcoming Passover recess. The anti-government protests also come at a time of intensive violence between Israelis and Palestinians that could spiral to a new dangerous phase with these extremist Israeli ministers in top posts. Israeli authorities have been conducting deadly raids on West Bank cities and villages, including a military raid that killed 6 Palestinians earlier this month. Why Israelis are protesting Netanyahu? From the get-go, the Israeli government has sought to make significant changes to the High Court that would hollow out its independence and its power to serve as a check on the Israeli parliament, or the Knesset. The several bills put forward would restrict the court's ability to overturn laws it sees as unconstitutional and allow a simple majority in the Knesset to reject its decisions. This is all complicated by the fact that Israel doesn't have a constitution, but, according to a recent survey by the Israel Democracy Institute, 66% of Israelis think the Supreme Court should have the power to strike down a law if it is incompatible with the basic laws. What now? Earlier this month, Netanyahu's colleagues were reportedly engaged in secret talks with legal experts toward a compromise on the judicial proposals. Now the vote will be delayed until next month or later. It's unclear what that means for protests in the interim. Even if Israel's domestic crisis subsides, the violence of the Israeli occupation continues, and the resistance of Palestinians has led CIA Director Bill Burns to warn of a third intifada or uprising. One thing is clear. Focusing on the judicial aspect and not on the radical changes to the occupation of Palestinians is not just a bad strategic choice, it will also weaken security and stability for all. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for more amazing videos.